In other words, wisdom starts sorting things out. As the mind now understands the causes for the restlessness, it immediately starts getting weaker and the tension in the body starts softening up too. If you continue observing, you might discover that some restlessness and some tension still remain. The question, why did those incidences happen, might come up and bring you a step further. You might see the unnoticed wants, resistances, views, hopes, or expectations that led to these incidences. Since you now see the original causes for your restlessness, your mind can let go of it completely. Since the mind has become aware of the causes for this restlessness and tension, it will be on the lookout for similar kinds of incidences that lead to stress, frustration, or elation. When they come up again, wisdom will spot the defilements behind them. This way, mindfulness becomes even more continuous, the mind even stronger. Now, faith, effort, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom work very closely together. In other words, the Dhamma is doing its own work. However, even natural mindfulness cannot always recognize defilements. We all have our blind spots, ingrained habit patterns which we are not aware of. Natural mindfulness will not be able to see blind spots. They are deeply hidden in the mind and are therefore inaccessible to direct observation. What mindfulness can see are emotional reactions in other people. So, whenever you notice that people around you become defensive in some way, reflect on your behavior and your attitude. Usually, however, it will not become clear to you how you could possibly have offended the other person. If you feel comfortable with the person you seem to have upset, you could ask for feedback. Otherwise, it is best to describe the situation to a good friend to see whether he or she is aware of your shortcoming in this area. Once you know your problem, you could also bring it up in Dhamma discussions. It is important to uncover and explore such hidden habits. Only if you are aware of the wrong attitudes that cause blind habits will wisdom become able to look out for them. When you're new to the practice, you have to make an effort to bring wisdom into play. You have to use your mindfulness intelligently in order to practice effectively. Particularly when you come across difficulties, you have to think of ways to deal with the situation. Over time, though, as mindfulness becomes more continuous, wisdom starts coming in more quickly to do its work. Wisdom knows the difference between wrong and right attitude. Wisdom dissolves the defilements. When your practice gains momentum, mindfulness and wisdom start working together. When mindfulness has become natural, the wisdom you've acquired is always available. No matter how often you lose mindfulness, always gently and patiently bring yourself to the present moment. Remind yourself persistently to be aware, but never be eager for progress. Never mind if others seem to progress much faster than you. You are walking your own path at your own speed. All you need to do is persevere, and sooner or later, mindfulness will naturally gain momentum. A new chapter named Wisdom, page 85. We usually acquire wisdom or knowledge by learning through reading or hearing, by thinking and reasoning, and through direct experience. Reading or hearing is called Suttamaya Panya. Thinking and reasoning is called Sintamaya Panya. And direct experience is called Bhavanamaya Panya. Suttamaya Panya is acquiring the right information to get us started. Sintamaya Panya is the process of digesting this information. Bhavanamaya Panya is understanding which arises through direct experience. We need both Suttamaya Panya and Sintamaya Panya in order to practice mindfulness effectively so that experiential wisdom, Bhavanamaya Panya, can arise. All three are part of meditation. All three are essential for vipassana. When we are new to meditation, we need to read Dhamma books or at least listen to and participate in Dhamma discussions. This gives us the information and advice we need to practice, some material to think about. We need to remember information and advice. We need to reflect when confronted with difficulties. And of course, we should also ask questions in Dhamma discussions. Making this conscious effort to bring in wisdom is essential. However, it is also very important to bear in mind the impact that this acquired knowledge will have on our practice. All such information will keep working at the back of our minds, will influence the way we think, the way we see things. So make sure that you have really understood the basics. Make sure that you know what you're doing. Whenever you are uncertain or when you cannot figure things out by yourself, clarify your understanding with a teacher. It is vital to have the right information, the right motivation, and the right thinking to practice intelligently and effectively. For most of us, this process of acquiring wisdom is a slow and often painful learning experience. We keep making mistakes. Don't be afraid of making mistakes, and even more importantly, never feel bad about having made a mistake. We cannot avoid making mistakes. We are, in a sense, the stepping stones of our path, of our progress. Becoming aware, carefully looking at and learning from mistakes is wisdom at work. As we learn from our mistakes, wisdom will start coming in more naturally, more automatically. Over the years, as our practice progresses, as we become more and more mindful, the knowledge and understanding we have accumulated will naturally come in more quickly. Wisdom and mindfulness will start working as a team. When awareness becomes natural, the mind is strong and the wisdom you have acquired is always available. You no longer need to make an effort to bring it in. When the observing mind gets stronger, wisdom can deal more competently with defilements. As your wisdom grows, the mind becomes purer and more equanimous. Eventually, you will start experiencing moments of equanimity and clarity in which you begin to see things in a completely new light. In other words, you start having insights. Having an insight means understanding deeply what you previously only understood superficially, intellectually. It is something that happens naturally, spontaneously. You cannot make it happen. The account of someone describing certain experiences leading up to an insight and the actual insight itself are two fundamentally different things. So, having similar experiences yourself does not at all mean that you are having an insight or that you will have an insight. When the time is ripe, when you are ready, you will have your distinct experiences and your own distinct insights. Then you will understand the vast difference between whatever you have read or heard about insight and the actual insight. You can express the effect of an insight has on you or the experiences around it, but you cannot express the depth of understanding you gain through the insight. Such a direct experience of reality will have a profound impact on your practice, on the way you perceive the world, and on the way you lead your life. In other words, the wisdom you acquire in this way will immediately alter the way you see things. However, an insight mind is not permanent. It only lasts for a moment. What perpetuates, what remains alive, is its quality, its potential. Unless you keep nurturing this quality, it can fade away. Only continued practice will keep it alive, will make sure that the wisdom you have acquired keeps doing its job, and that you keep growing in wisdom. Continued practice does not mean you have to spend a certain number of hours per day or per week sitting in meditation, even though it certainly helps. Continued practice means being mindful in whatever you do to the best of your abilities. At this stage of the practice, wisdom is moving into the limelight. Awareness remains as always at its side, but now wisdom is running the show. This kind of wisdom will help us make significant progress in our practice. Suttamaya, Cintamaya, and Bhavanamaya Panya also work hand in hand. The wisdom you gain by thinking will increase your faith in the Dhamma, and therefore further stimulate your interest in the practice. Increased interest in the practice will result in more learning and thinking. You will start being afraid of making mistakes, and will start exploring new ways of dealing with difficulties. You will see the benefits of the practice more clearly and understand what you have learned at deeper levels. All this will further increase your faith. Once you start having insight, your faith in the Dhamma will get a tremendous boost. This will yet again strengthen your determination to practice wholeheartedly. The practice of mindfulness will become the mainstay of your life, and your world will never be the same again. No matter how experienced you are, no matter how much more knowledge you have than everyone else, never be satisfied with the wisdom you've acquired or with the depths of insight you've had. Do not limit yourself. Always leave the door wide open for new and deeper understandings. Food for thought. The following points were brought up during many Dhamma discussions with dozens of yogis. Some of them were beginners, others were already very experienced practitioners. Depending on your personal level of meditation experience, you may or may not understand some of these points. Don't worry about those you don't understand yet. Just allow them to sink in. Over time, as your practice unfolds, their meanings will become apparent and you will understand them at deeper and deeper levels. As your meditation progresses, you will eventually understand them all. These points are not arranged in any particular order, so just read a few at a time, whenever you feel a need for some input or for some inspiration. Number 1. meditation is not just about sitting on a cushion. No matter what posture you're in, if your mind is aware with understanding, you are meditating. Number 2, if you can't observe, don't force yourself to do it. Learn how to relax, how to be comfortable first. Number 3, try lying down meditation every now and then. Learn to develop awareness in whatever posture you're in. Always remain aware of your experience and notice the difference in mental effort needed to maintain awareness in different postures. Number 4, right effort means perseverance. It does not mean focusing hard, or controlling, or forcing, or restricting yourself. Focusing hard arises from greed, aversion, or ignorance of the practice. Number 5, you can be aware of bodily sensations, mental feelings, and mental activities, but do not think of them as mine. They are just what they are. Sensations are sensations, feelings are feelings, mental activities are mental activities. That is their fundamental nature. Always try to observe them with this view in mind. If you don't, if you experience them as mine, attachment and aversion will inevitably arise. Number 6, learning to observe, investigate, and understand the nature of an object is more important than just wanting to see it disappear. Wanting the object to disappear is wrong attitude. Number 7, when there are no defilements in the watching mind, you have right mindfulness. Number 8, the knowing mind is the mind that cognizes whatever comes to the sense doors. It is always present, but it can neither recognize nor interpret. It has no wisdom nor understanding of what is going on. The knowing mind simply senses objects. Number 9, the observing or watching mind observes whatever you experience. When you are aware that you are observing, you are aware of the observing mind. Number 10, when you can only become aware of the mind through the presence of its activities and feelings. Whenever you are aware of thinking or that there is anger, disappointment, desire, etc., you are aware of the mind. You need to recognize that it is the mind which is doing or feeling all this. Number 11, when you interfere with the watching mind, insights cannot arise. Learn to watch objectively with bare attention. Number 12, when you observe your mind, you will be surprised, amazed, and possibly even shocked to discover fixed ideas, wants, fears, hopes, and expectations which you have not been aware of. Number 13, all worldly activities, such as reading, listening to music, playing sports, involve thinking and conceptualizing. Without it, external stimuli or objects become meaningless. But if conceptual thinking comes up during meditation, you should simply be aware that the mind is thinking. Number 14, when you can easily stay with an object, it is either because of the gross nature of the object or because your mindfulness is strong. Don't be content with observing gross objects only. Your mindfulness will become stronger as you learn to observe subtle objects. Number 15. The moment you start disliking someone, an imprint or data is created within your mind. The imprint then causes you to see that person in a fixed way and prevents you from seeing how he or she really is. This is delusion at work. Number 16. When the mind is ready for insight, it will arise naturally, spontaneously. Don't look or hope for insight to arise. Looking for it will lead to false creations of the mind. Number 17. Always keep an open mind about whatever you experience. Try not to jump to conclusions. Simply keep observing and investigating your experience thoroughly and continuously. Jumping to conclusions will prevent your understanding from deepening. Number 18. If you keep avoiding difficult situations, you cannot learn and grow. This is especially true for dealing with the defilements. Learning to face the defilements allows you to investigate and understand their nature, and this will help you transcend them. Number 19. Learn to be interested in difficult situations. By being present with them in a gentle manner, you may suddenly understand what caused them. Number 20. Feelings need not be identified or categorized as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Remind yourself that a feeling is just a feeling. Accept it just as it is. When watching a movie, all members of the audience will perceive it in their own way, from their personal perspective. Those with a relatively immature mind may view the movie as pure entertainment. Those with a more mature mind will also try to understand the message in it. In meditation too, you should always try to understand what is happening. Number 22. The more you concentrate or focus on an object, the more energy you use. This makes the practice difficult and tiring. Your mindfulness may actually slacken. When you then become aware of this, you will probably try hard to build up the level of mindfulness again, which of course means using even more energy, and this snowball effect burns you out during a long retreat. Number 23. When you put in too much effort to be mindful, you will spend your energy too quickly, and therefore you will not be able to maintain mindfulness throughout the day. If you practice in a relaxed way, you will conserve energy and be able to practice for long periods of time. If you are a long-term meditator, you cannot afford to waste your energy. Meditation is a lifelong undertaking. It is a marathon, not a 100-meter dash. Number 24. See each and every moment as a valuable opportunity for the development of awareness, but do not take the practice too seriously. If you're too serious about it, you may become tense and are no longer natural. Number 25. Once you know how to relax, you become sensitive to your own needs. You will then know when you're using energy unnecessarily, and also learn to conserve your energy. Number 26. After you have heard or read about other people's meditation experiences, you might consciously or unconsciously be on the lookout for them. Then, if you experience something similar, you might jump to the conclusion that it is an insight. But you've only had a similar experience. An insight is true understanding of reality. Number 27. The wandering mind is a natural mental activity. If we keep pushing it away, we are not accepting what's natural. Once we accept this, i.e. having the right attitude, watching the wandering mind becomes easier. In the beginning, you may often lose yourself in thought, but that is okay. Over time and with practice, you will start observing the wandering mind just thoughts and get lost in it less and less often. Number 28. Don't resist, don't expect. Accept things as they are. Number 29. The wandering mind is not the problem. Your attitude that it should not be wandering is the problem. The object is not really important. How you observe or view it is important. Number 30. What you are observing or where you are observing is not important. Your awareness of it is important. Number 31. Every moment is the right moment for meditation. Number 32. The purpose of samatha is to attain certain mental states, whereas vipassana is a journey of learning and understanding. Number 33. Mindfulness meditation can be compared to watching a movie. You just sit back, relax, and watch. The storyline of what you're watching will naturally unfold, and how much you learn from what you watch depends on your level of understanding. Number 34. If you don't have the right attitude, then one way or another your mind is defiled. Number 35. Insight per se is not so important. What is really important is whether or not the insight leads to a transformation in your mind which will enable you in future to handle similar situations without defilements. Number 36. When there are defilements in your mind, you have to recognize and acknowledge their presence. But it is also important that you are aware of the absence of defilements. Number 37. Understanding is not linear. You can understand things in different ways, on different levels, and from different angles. Number 38. Wisdom inclines towards the good, but it is not attached to it. It shies away from what is not good, but it has no aversion to it. Wisdom recognizes the difference between skillful and unskillful, and it clearly sees the undesirability of the unskillful. Number 39. Delusion can cause you to see things upside down. It makes you see what is wrong as right and what is right as wrong. Number 40. Avoiding difficult situations or running away from them does not usually take much skill or effort, but doing so prevents you from testing your own limits and from growing. The ability to face difficulties can be crucial for your growth. However, If you're faced with a situation in which the difficulties are simply overwhelming, you should step back for the time being and wait until you have built up enough strength to deal with it skillfully.